I really like to look at Korea as a case study because I'm just very interested in Korea in
Yeah.
general. And it's crazy how much of a change has happened with their cultures because you love to talk about that guy that had like every descendant in his family memorized,
Yes.
every ancestor. And so somewhere along the line, I don't exactly know where, probably around the 80s and 90s, there was some kind of transition where the emphasis became so much more on education, especially when women were allowed to get educated. They even had to work even harder than the men to get a good education. And so, what happens when you put so much time and money into that pursuit? You go out on the other side and you're like, well, then now I need to make all that worth it. So, I need to enter the workforce and be good at it and make that my goal, my life goal to be really
Yes.
good at this thing and be really contributing to the economy and work hard. And that's where we're at right now. And it became super competitive, not for, it wasn't competitive in the way of capitalism, really. It was more competitive in the way of like who can get the best, most expensive education.
Yeah.
And nowadays, there's a culture where people don't think they can raise kids well because raising kids well means providing for their super expensive education. And so they're saying, like, oh, in order to send my kid to school, the tuition would be this much. And like
Right.
that, they're talking about a very prestigious academy. So they're like, I'd have to make this much money in order to send my kid there because the tuition's so expensive. And it's like they don't realize that that's not the most important thing. They care so much about competing with other families and other children, and, like, the way they compete is with whose education is better.
Right.
And then if you're investing all that education into a little girl, then she's not going to want to have kids because that's gonna take her away from her whole life goal, her the thing that she's been working for all of her life, and so you can see really where that makes a culture end up.
Yes.
Because before it used to be like the cream of the crop would get a good education, and they might even have kids later, but they would pursue a career. Now it's like everyone has to do it if you want to be good at
Yeah.
anything. So that's where it's ended up, and so they don't wanna have kids because it would totally ruin all that they've been working towards their whole life. And so that's really what happens. That's the whole culture thing that you're talking about. Their culture isn't one of wanting to bring up children and caring and being passionate about it. Is being passionate about spending a lot of money during education, working really hard, getting really good grades, making sure that you're better than everyone else, all of your peers, and then finally you will get a career and then maybe you'll make money. So it is
Yeah.
such a different culture, and it's one that does not have a long memory, and it's one that won't survive the test of time.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting to be contrasting these different cultures and see which one is gonna win out in 50 years.
Yes. Yeah.